Bin Sun Refinery and Petrochemical Joint Stock Company, referred to as BSR for short, always wants you to come to us and return home safely. We believe that all accidents and injuries are avoidable. Everyone is responsible for ensuring safety for themselves, for other people, and for the factory. Therefore, you should obey the factory's safety regulations. When working at Yonghwa Oil Refinery, there is always a risk of fire and accidents, such as working at high confined space, chemicals, high temperatures, electricity, and so on. Especially toxic gases such as carbon monoxide and hydrogen sulfide are likely to leak in areas of the plant. Therefore, to ensure your safety when working in areas which are at risk of toxic gas leakage in Yonghwa Oil Refinery, you need to understand the following basic safety requirements. The characteristics of toxic gases. Safety regulations when working in areas having toxic gases. Guidance on responding to emergencies when toxic gas leaks. First aid when breathing in toxic gas. Part 1. Toxic gas, hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide gas characteristics. Hydrogen sulfide is a toxic, flammable, and corrosive gas. The auto-ignition temperature is 260 degrees Celsius. Hydrogen sulfide is heavier than air and accumulates in low-lying areas such as drains and bottoms. Hydrogen sulfide has the smell of rotten eggs, and people can detect odors from 0.13 parts per million to 100 parts per million. Hydrogen sulfide disperses in air very quickly. According to the Health Ministry standards, the permitted working concentration for hydrogen sulfide gas is prescribed as follows. The time-weighted average withstand level for 8 hours is 7.17 parts per million. The short-term exposure limit, no more than 15 minutes per contact and no more than 4 contacts in 18 working hours, is 10.76 parts per million. Concentrations affecting health are determined as follows. At 0.13 parts per million, the effects are very small and cannot be identified. At 2 to 5 parts per million, it may cause nausea, headache, or insomnia. At 20 parts per million, it may cause fatigue, headache, irritability, and dizziness. At 50 to 100 parts per million, it may cause mild conjunctivitis and respiratory irritation after 1 hour. It may also cause gastrointestinal discomfort. At 100 parts per million, it may cause cough, eye irritation, loss of odor after 2 to 15 minutes, drowsiness after 15 to 30 minutes, burning in the throat after 1 hour, gradually increasing the severity of symptoms within a few hours, and possibly dying within 48 hours. At 100 to 150 parts per million, it may cause loss of smell, fatigue, or olfactory paralysis. At 200 to 300 parts per million, it may cause conjunctivitis and respiratory irritation after 1 hour. Pulmonary edema may occur from prolonged exposure. At 500 to 700 parts per million, it may cause serious eye damage after 30 minutes and death after 30 to 60 minutes. At 700 to 1,000 parts per million, it may cause unconsciousness, apnea, and death within minutes. At over 1,000 parts per million, it may cause immediate death. Areas in the refinery that are risk of leakage and have hydrogen sulfide gas include Amine Absorption Device Unit U15, Sour Water Treatment Unit U18, Amine Treatment Unit U19, Alkaline Neutralizing Unit U20, Sulfur Recovery Unit U22/25, LCO treatment unit with hydro, U24. Gas burning area, U57. Wastewater treatment area, U58. In addition, hydrogen sulfide gas can appear in manholes and tanks. Part 2. Toxic gas, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide gas characteristics. It's a colorless, odorless, tasteless gas, being highly flammable and highly toxic. Combustion in the air forms carbon dioxide gas. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. When carbon monoxide gas is inhaled through the lungs and absorbed into the bloodstream, a chemical reaction takes place in the blood that prevents the transport of oxygen to parts of the body. Carbon monoxide poisoning can lead to coma, the senses are permanently damaged, and people are very easy to die. In low concentrations, carbon monoxide gas causes headaches, loss of consciousness, nausea, fatigue, rapid breathing, confusion, disorientation, and physical weakness. Moreover, carbon monoxide gas can cause chest pain in people having heart disease. In high concentrations, carbon monoxide gas can cause coma and death. According to the Health Ministry's standards, permissible concentrations when working with carbon monoxide are prescribed as follows. The time-weighted average withstand level for 8 hours is 18 parts per million. The short-term exposure limit, no more than 15 minutes per contact, and no more than 4 contacts in 8 working hours, is 35 parts per million. Concentrations affecting health are determined as follows. 18 parts per million over 8 hours is the acceptable limit. 200 parts per million over 3 hours may cause an unpleasant, mild headache. 400 parts per million over 2 hours may cause irritability and headache. .600 parts per million over 1 hour may cause irritability and headache. From 1,000 to 2,000 parts per million over 30 minutes may cause heart palpitations. From 2,000 to 2,500 parts per million over 30 minutes may cause fainting. 4,000 parts per million over 1 minute may cause death. Areas in the refinery that are at risk of leakage and carbon monoxide emissions include: the main source of carbon monoxide is from the catalytic regeneration tower, D1502/3, H1503 of RFCC Unit 15. In addition, the operation of engines using hydrocarbon fuel also produce carbon monoxide gas, but the amount of carbon monoxide gas generated is usually insignificant and does not pose a health risk unless carbon monoxide gas is released in enclosed or limited spaces. Safety regulations when working in areas having hydrogen sulfide gas and carbon monoxide toxic gas. To ensure safety when working in areas having potential leakage of toxic gases, you need to comply with the following regulations. You must be trained in toxic gas safety before working. Have a work permit and gas test by a trained person before carrying out work. Wear a toxic gas detector during work. Note, the position of the gas detector, preferably on the hat, collar, but not more than 0.3 meters from the respiratory organs such as nose and mouth. Use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as respirators. Note, do not use your sense of smell to identify the presence of toxic gas. Do not come to areas where there is leakage of toxic gas without breathing aids and a gas detector. Part 4. responding to emergencies when toxic gas leaks. In the event of a toxic gas leak, the below instructions should be followed. Do not panic. When the alarm system activates or personal gas detectors warn of toxic gas leakage, we should limit breathing and use breathing apparatus if available. Stop working immediately. Warn anyone who you meet in the evacuation process. Check the nearest wind flower to identify the wind direction and move horizontally or opposite to the wind direction to get to the nearest gathering point. Call for firefighting team. Internal 6205, radio station number 1. Call for medical assistance. Internal 7151, radio station number 1. Part 5. First aid. When someone is affected by toxic gases, you need to calm down and handle the following. The symptom of poisoning will quickly reduce when there is fresh air. So you should take the victim to a well-ventilated area, loosen the collar and belt, and call for medical assistance. If breathing is slow, labored, or weak, you must perform artificial respiration immediately. Note: before performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation, the chest must be pressed to expel air in the victim's lungs. Summary. In order to ensure safety when working in areas having potential toxic gas leakage, the following safety measures should be noted. Attend training course on toxic gas safety. Understand the characteristics of each toxic gas. Know the areas at risk of toxic gas leakage. Always wear a detector when performing work, and do not come into areas having a leak without breathing aids and a gas detector. Equip gas masks, self-contained breathing apparatus before starting work. When the alarm system activates or there are alerts from the gas detector, you must evacuate to the muster point. Observe the wind direction before evacuating and move in the opposite or perpendicular direction of the wind. For the safety of yourself, other people, and the refinery, please follow the safety regulations when working at Yonghwa Oil Refinery. Thank you for your attentive listening. Wish you a safe working day. Goodbye, and see you again.